right, we are now on muscles of the back, and we include the back of the forearm here. And I forgot to mention in the last video, I think I told you in the second video, but you can pause this and color code and do all your color coding ahead of time. Just so you know, this was supposed to be brown and these are supposed to be orange. My color pencils came out a little less than desirable. This is dark gray. This was supposed to be like a cadet blue. So some of my colors here are a little tough to figure out, but I'll hopefully clear that up for you as we go. So go ahead and pause that video now, and I'll see you back in a sec. All right, so hopefully you have that all color coded up, and you'll notice I try to keep the colors consistent. So again, the deltoid is in dark blue. We're just going to mark that. We're not going to talk about it anymore. And I still have in dark green my trapezius. So here I have the trapezius. And here we get to see a little bit more of the full scope of the trapezius. We talk a little bit about this diagram and explain what we've got going on. And I'm also going to pause the video. Well, I'll just catch it at the end. I can see I forgot to color code one of the muscles. So we have three views. Over here we have the superficial view. Put this down a little bit. And what they've done is on the left side, you have your superficial muscles, but on the right, up in this quadrant, they've removed the trapezius so that you can see the intermediate muscles. So this is an intermediate view. And then over here, we have deep muscles. So this is the deep view. All of the superficial and intermediate muscles have been removed. And we'll notice that very often muscles come in three layers. And we'll see another thing you'll notice is that here we see muscles running this direction. Here we see muscles running this direction. And here we see muscles going a slightly different direction. So we get a lot of different directionalities, and that provides strength. The trapezius, again, they're complicated. You can kind of draw a line here and here. And you would have the upper traps, middle traps, and lower traps. And they're going to do different things. So for example, these upper traps are adducting the head. As they contract, they pull the head down towards the shoulder blade. These guys are pulling the shoulder blade this way. These guys are operating, so they in a different direction. They all have different functions. And so we're not really going to list a function for the trapezius just because they are so complex and they are so big and they do so many different things. But these guys in yellow, so here we have these two large major muscle groups of the back. These are the latissimus dorsi, L-A-T-I-S-S-I, latissimus dorsi. And we know dorsal means back. So what they're going to do is they originate on this aponeuroses. And you'll notice I don't have it colored in because this is technically not part of the lats. We call them lats for short. They it's actually an aponeurosis, and this is the origin. The insertion is on the humerus. And if you do lat rows at a machine, you'll be rowing backwards. And so what they're really doing is they are adducting the humerus. And if we could see that the point they're going to come in and they're going to originate, the humerus runs up this way. So they actually, insert, the origin is back here, insertion is on the humerus. Because of that, they're adducting the humerus. Again, this is one of many functions. We're really kind of going with simplified functions, just because these are really big groups and they do a lot. When we get to the intermediate muscles, then we have these three, and I have one that I forgot to color over here, and I'll pick that up. So in light blue, here is my scapula, and this is the spine of the scapula. Because this is above the spine of the scapula, this is called the supraspinatus. And in pink, below the spine, I have, so below is going to be infra. I have the infraspinatus. So the supraspinatus and the infraspinatus. And they come around and they actually, they originate on the medial border of the scapula. And they originate here, you could see the infraspinatus is, inserting on the humerus. And the same thing here in brown, we have the teres major. And it is also inserting, it comes back here and it inserts on the humerus, originates on the scapula. So together, number one, number two, number three, these guys all are part of what we know as the rotator cuff. And so they're helping the humerus rotate. So their function, one of their functions is to rotate the humerus. All right, the one that I forgot to color, and I'm going to do a light green with my Sharpie. This is supposed to be dark green, and this is supposed to be light green. This is where the Sharpies fall a little short. So this is supposed to be a darker green, and this is supposed to be a lighter green. Light green, LG. This is the rhomboideus major. And if you try to pull your shoulder blades together, you pull them towards each other, you're bringing the shoulder blades towards the midline. So you are adducting your scapula, and that's the job of the rhomboideus major, is to adduct scapula. So they insert on the medial borders of the scapula, and when they contract, they pull the scapula towards the center line. So we are adducting scapula. All right, those are actually the intermediate muscles of the back. So we're going to go to this big guy. This is an arm muscle, and this is an orange. And this is the triceps brachii. And we said in the beginning, if your biceps are flexors, then your triceps are antagonists to that. So these have to be extensors. So they extend the arm. And in a sense, you could say they extend the forearm. So we're actually moving, when we contract the triceps, we're actually extending the forearm. We'll add that in. So this is just a better image. Now, where does the name tri come from? This has got a split. This comes up here. It's got three origins. So it originates on the humerus and the scapula. The insertion is on the olecranon process of the ulna, which is your elbow. So that bump on your elbow is where the tricep inserts. Okay, that takes us to our deep muscles, and we have them. We're gonna talk about them by group. So this is dark gray here. This is a cadet blue here. So this is number one. This is two, and then in red, I have three. These are all together known as the erector, EREC, erector spinae. And they're divided into three subcategories. So group one actually has about 4 different muscles with it. Group two has different muscles. Group three has muscles. And we see some of that over here. We have different looking muscles, but we talk about them by group. So the first group are the iliocostalis. because they connect the ilium and the ribs. So they connect, they insert on the ribs, and they originate on the ilium. And altogether, these all have the function of keeping the back straight. Keeping, let me rewrite it. Keeping the back straight. So each of these groups works at a different region as we move out laterally. The iliocostalis is the most lateral. And then we go to the longissimus dorsi. And this was again in that cadet blue. And the ones that run closest to the vertebral column are called in red the spinalis dorsi. Spinalis dorsi. And again, these all function, they all fall under this umbrella, and each of these has subdivisions. They have more that fall underneath them, but they all kind of have like that umbrella. There's one more. Gosh, I can see I'm just missing all kinds of things today. What color haven't I used? That's a tough one. I'm going to go with a true brown. And I've got this guy right here. We'll do this in a true brown. And this is the levator scapulae. And this elevates the scapula. So the insertion is on the top border of the scapula. When this muscle contracts, it actually pulls the scapula up. So if you shrug your shoulders, you're using your levator scapulae. This elevates the scapula. In case you haven't noticed, there are so many muscle attachments with the scapula. I think it's like 30 some different muscle attachments. And remember, some of these muscles have subdivisions, like they're the name of a larger muscle. But the scapula is so important in movement of the upper body. Okay, that's a whole lot of muscles. So we started off with our reviews where we had the deltoids and the trapezius. But then right away, we got into our superficial muscles, the latissimus dorsi, the intermediate, which were the levator scapulae, the rhomboid major, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres major. Got the triceps brachii on the back of the arm, and then our deep muscles by group, they're all erector spinae. As we go from lateral to medial, we have the iliocostalis, the longissimus dorsi, and spinalis dorsi. Okay, that'll do it for muscles of the back. Thanks for watching.